Hello, I'm Charmaine Champ and I'm a continence sleep and behaviour consultant working with all children, including children with autism, a learning disability and complex needs. And during this short video, I will be exploring behaviour and what can cause and trigger behaviours and how you as a parent can begin to help your child manage behaviour in a positive way. I'm also really looking forward to introducing a very special guest who's going to be sharing an exciting tool in promoting positive behaviour. So, behaviour, difficult to manage behaviour or challenging behaviour can mean different things to different people. And what is deemed difficult for one family may not be for another. But what's really important is that the behaviour being displayed by the child, either ignoring or refusing to follow requests or hurting others or using excessive anger, are all forms of behaviour which require support from their parent and or carer. So what we're going to be looking at is that all behaviour is a form of communication. And as a parent or carer, we need to be a detective and look beneath the surface of the behaviour, looking at what is your child trying to tell you. With a sudden onset of difficult or challenging behaviour, the first thing we as parents, carers or professionals should ask is my child in pain or discomfort? Or is there any underlying illness? We should always focus on the internal factors that may be affecting your child's behaviour. So internal factors affecting a child's behaviour can include things like physical health needs such as an illness, pain, discomfort, sort of poo or wee patterns. We could also look at dietary intake, what the child actually eats and when, their fluid consumption, sleep, anxiety and stress, as well as sensory needs. During my supporting video series, I've actually been able to produce 10 videos, so this is my 11th video that I've actually produced. And I've actually been able to explore each of the identified internal factors in depth. So please check out my YouTube video on my business page for further details of those videos. So once you've actually ruled out any physical health reasons and internal factors that may be affecting your child's behaviour occurring, it's then important to be aware of triggers and where possible to reduce any behaviour triggers. Triggers to behaviour can include things like noise, strangers or people your child does not know very well, how close other people are to your child, changes in routine, chaos, stressful situations, being ignored, or your child's capacity, so if there's lots of things going on at that particular time, and the pace of discussions and or expectations on your child. These are just to name a few, and it's not an exclusive list at all. So being aware of when, where and how your child's behaviour is being triggered can help you reduce future behaviour episodes. So why does difficult to manage challenging behaviour occur? So behaviour occurs when children are anxious and distressed and is a direct result of either fear, feeling threatened, or a fight or flight response. So behaviour may not always seem like it, but the behaviour does always have a purpose, a response to a non-understandable feeling, a sensory need, and a form of communication. As a parent, carer or family member, you can help your child with their behaviour by introducing the following behavioural foundations. So when we're looking at behavioural foundations, we're looking at introducing routines. So when we don't have routines in our life, anxiety and stress levels can raise when things are disorganised and chaotic, and daily routines can eliminate guesswork and reduce stress. Another way we can help with behaviour foundations is introducing a visual timetable. So what we're looking at is making what we do or what we're going to do visual. And this can be in the form of a bright and colourful calendar or a planner, or a visual timetable with pictures detailing what is going to be happening and when. So that could be looking at in the morning, afternoon or evening, and it also could be around specific activities. So I've just got an example here. So this is a visual timetable for toileting. So it's just showing you, but it could easily say morning and then you could have different activities. So what it's doing is just detailing all the different activities that will take place, but in picture form. So the other thing we can do to help our children is actually planning. So planning for transition and change. So if your child's behaviour is triggered when they're going from one activity to another, you can support your child by introducing a now and next board or a first and then board, supporting your child again visually and then promoting their understanding. So a first and then board looks something like this, but it doesn't have to be an A4, it can be very small as well. So we're looking at first, so this is saying first toilet, and then you can have your snack. So we're just trying to break down what it is that they're going to be doing and help their understanding. So the other thing we can do is looking at timers. So we can introduce timers with activities. So your child may not understand how long 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes is, and they may not understand waiting. So you may say to them, right, you've got 5 more minutes and then we're going to go and have tea. Or we've got 5 more minutes and we need to leave for school. But your child might not understand how long or what 5 minutes actually looks or feels like. So by introducing a timer, another visual, you can support your child's understanding. So just an example, this is an electronic timer, but you can get sand timers as well. So the idea is that you can actually see the time and then an alarm goes off. But you can do it that you don't have to have the alarm as well. So that's just another idea of what you can do there. Something else that you can do is looking at time. So it's enabling enough time for your child to process the instructions and requests. And enough time can mean different things to different children because we're all individual. So I would recommend starting with say 7 to 8 seconds between or before repeating the request, and then maybe reviewing and maybe increasing to 10 to 12 seconds. So for example, if it's tea time now, and then waiting 7 to 8 seconds. It's tea time now, and then waiting. So if you find that 7 to 8 seconds works for your child, that's brilliant, that's great. But also you could use the time, so enabling your child to have enough time in between. And then when they're actually doing that, you can actually do another visual. So we're looking at, fantastic, great, it's tea time now, and off you go. Or if they're sort of given warnings, or you need to think about what that is. So again, you can have lots of different visuals to support what you're actually saying. So the other way you can help with our behavioural foundations is thinking about tone. So it's thinking about how you ask your child to do something and being aware of your tone and the pitch of your voice. So when children don't understand, or they're too distracted with things and not really concentrating on what you're saying, they actually tune in to what is being asked and the way it's being asked, and they're looking for clues in the way you're actually saying that. So it's just really, really important if you can think about your tone and your pitch of the way you ask things. So, as your child's parent and carer, you hold the key to your child's behaviour changing, and this can be achieved with support. So don't feel like you're on your own, because support is available. So, behaviour can often be viewed negatively, especially with difficult to manage or challenging behaviour being displayed, which can result in a "how can I make my child behave" sort of approach. But what we really need to think about is, how can I make my child feel safe and secure and happy? Because often the behaviour that is being displayed could be that it's the time. Have they not had enough time to process? They just weren't ready, and they didn't understand how long 5 minutes was before tea. So that's why they were, the behaviour was displayed, because they just didn't understand that. Or was it that it wasn't part of their routine? They didn't know they were going to grandma's house, because no one had mentioned it to them, or they hadn't understood that it was grandma after tea, and things like that. So there could be changes in routine. So what we're saying is that by changing the way we view behaviour from a negative to a positive approach is actually another way we can actually help our children. So I'm very excited to introduce my special guest today, Nikki, who will be joining me from Behaviour Balls. And Nikki has successfully designed a tool for promoting a positive behaviour approach. So over to you, Nikki.
Hi, my name's Nikki and I'm the founder of Behaviour Balls. I'm also a mum of 2 boys, currently aged 14 and 6, and I've been a primary school teacher in and around Cambridgeshire for the last 20 years. So, what are Behaviour Balls and how do they work? Basically, it's a visual behaviour system to help you and your family better manage the behaviour of your child, avoiding lots of verbal dialogue and helping you to work towards the ultimate goal: good behaviour is expected. Basically, each 24 hours starts afresh with the tube full of balls. The aim is, can your child keep all 4 balls in their tube in order to receive their daily reward? Now, it's important that whatever the child chooses for their daily reward is enough of an incentive for them in order to make them want to behave in the way that you are asking them to. This system uses 6 clear and simple steps, 5 of which are visual, to help your child make the right choice about their behaviour at any point during the day. Some examples that you could choose are maybe coming to the table when being asked, not hitting, not biting, staying in bed at bedtime. Any behaviour that you are finding challenging, Behaviour Balls could be tried with. So say, for example, you're fed up of asking your child every time it's time for a meal to stop what they're doing, maybe tidy away, come to the table, and you're used to entering into an argument about what they've got to do and how they've got to come. With the Behaviour Balls, the main aim is few words are needed. You would give 1 verbal warning, and after that, no words are needed. You would then go and get your tube of Behaviour Balls, which is one of the visual clues. You then would work through the other visual steps in front of your child in order for them to make the right choice and to do what you have asked. In this case, come to the table. If at any point during these 5 visual steps your child stops the behaviour that they were doing and does the right thing, makes the right choice, you stop and you put the Behaviour Balls back in their place where you keep them. If, however, they continue with their behaviour and you've gone through all 5 visual steps and they have then ultimately lost a ball, you then put this Behaviour Ball away, the lid goes back on, and your child will now only have 3 balls. Each ball is worth for example, an amount of time towards their daily reward, depending on what it may be. On our website, we have more advice and help in how to choose and how to use your daily reward. So once a behaviour ball is lost, it must remain out. They cannot, at any point during the day, earn it back. Families that were trialling this for me that did that found that it completely lost impact, because the child would say, well, Mum, if you're giving it back to me, I'll just earn it back later. So once it's lost, they've had their verbal warning, they've had their visual warnings, they've had their chances to stop the behaviour, they've chosen to carry on, they've lost it. So at reward time, they would then look to see how many balls they had left in their tube and how much reward time to get. They would then have their reward time, and then at the end of reward time, it's good with the child to go and place all the 4 balls back in the tube, so that the day or the next 24 hours can start afresh with the tube full. And starting on the positive that you're expecting them to behave well and you're expecting them to keep all 4 of their balls. It's important to keep this tube visible at all times so that the child can constantly see where they are with their behaviour. With my son, his daily reward back when we first started this was watching Paw Patrol while he ate his tea. As he was so much younger than my other son, he was eating his tea on his own. On day 1 of using this system, and he was already used to watching Paw Patrol, he lost all 4 of his balls. Yes, he had a major tantrum, but ultimately he came to the table. Ultimately he ate his tea without watching any Paw Patrol. However, that was a very powerful day, because on day 2 of using the behaviour balls, it was enough just to say, if you don't come to the table or if you don't do what I'm asking you to do, you will lose a behaviour ball. And yes, we had to go through some of the visual steps, but he never, on day 2, I think he might have lost 1 ball. So that was a huge improvement already. So they can have a big impact very quickly if used correctly. The visual nature of this system also stops you entering into verbal battles or arguments with your child. In situations like this, when your child is angry and you're starting to get angry, they can not hear properly what you're saying, and all of what you're saying is just heard as noise. They can't process and hear and justify and reason with what you're saying. So this visual nature, they can still see, but they don't have to hear. And so many families that I've worked with have found this visual nature really, really simple and clear and helpful as the child is going through their moment and they're making the wrong choices initially. They see, they know what the consequence is, and so a lot of the times they have stopped. One family, their child would get frustrated with the mum, saying, why aren't you talking to me? Because they were so used to provoking an argument and flaming that argument that they didn't like the fact that things became silent. However, it had an impact.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Nikki, and sharing your amazing positive approach to behaviour. So, during this short video, I've been able to explore behaviour, identifying internal factors, causes and triggers, and looking at what is behind behaviour and how to introduce behaviour foundations for a positive behaviour approach. So all the approaches discussed and explored can be utilised with all children, including children with autism, a learning disability and complex needs. But obviously I understand that all children are individual. So if you or your family would like any individualised support or further information around any of the topics discussed within this video, or you have any concerns around your child's continence, sleep or behaviour needs, then please feel free to contact me on my business page or email. And then also I can offer a free telephone consultation, and I'll attach the details for you, because it's always good to talk, and it's just to let you know that there is support out there if you really do need it. So I look forward to continuing supporting you through my role as a continence, sleep and behaviour consultant with you and your family, and to help your child work towards being successful with their behaviour. So thank you ever so much for joining me, and I'll see and speak to you soon.